Hi, everybody. This is Good Deeds. I'm Dr. Renee Sunday. Thank you for enjoying us tonight. We're just so excited that you took time out your busy schedule just to listen to us. Now, Good Deeds is very excited that you're with us today. We have a wonderful, wonderful guest that's with us today, and we're just so excited that you took the time to be with us right now.
I'm really excited to be with you, Renee.
All right. Thank you. You guys, this is Mr. Cyrus Webb. He's a wonderful, wonderful person. We are so excited that he took time out of his schedule to be with us, and we want to welcome him to Good Deeds. Hi, Cyrus. Are you there?
I am here, Renee. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, wonderful. First of all, what we want to do is we want to take this opportunity for you to just tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us what actually Mr. Cyrus Webb is all about.
Well, once again, thank you so much for the honor of being your very first guest here on Good Deeds on the radio. I really appreciate that. I tell people, outside of work, Renee, I'm really quite boring. I mean, I don't really, consider myself to be that interesting outside of work, but I am the president of Conversations Media Group, which is the home of Conversations Live, which is also a radio program, as well as Conversations with Cyrus Webb, which is a television program. And then I have Conversations, the magazine, as well as I've been very fortunate to be the president of Conversations Book Club. And it really is about what the name says. It really is just about having conversations with people, both, in print, also in person, and being able to connect with people online. So that's kind of what I like to do. I like to bring people together to have thoughtful conversations and to encourage them.
Oh, that's just so amazing. You really are saying a lot of things that's very important that we need to realize that we are our brothers and sisters keeper. The goal is to kind of promote people and showcase people, and that's what we really, the purpose and the mission of Good Deeds, all the platforms we have. So thank you for being an inspiration in our lives.
Well, look, I thank people like you because it's because of people like you, Renee, that, that the message continues to spread. I think, with your being able to reach people the way that you are, through the work that you're doing and with public speaking, and as well as now with your radio platform, your television platform, congratulations on that. I know it's debuting this weekend on All Nations Television. I mean, people like you are so important because it really helps to spread the message and also show people what's possible for them.
Yes, that. Thank you so much. I thank you for actually saying that about myself. But I'm the same vein as you. I really like to promote other people. And just, a lot of people say they don't want to be a mentor. I do want that role so I can let someone know what I've been through. They actually do the same things I've done and actually do much better. Exactly.
Right, exactly. And I think that is the thing.
This.
I mean.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Cyrus. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to say I think that is the thing. I mean, to let people know what's possible because so many people don't know what they're capable of doing. So I think for you to be able to do that, I mean, really shows them what's possible for them.
Yes. And actually, this is a great segue to this question that we have. What do you think do you think you're actually in your purpose? Do you think you're actually walking out the reason that you're actually here on this earth?
Now I will say yes. I have not, like a lot of people, I have not always known what my purpose is. I've always been told that I was going to do something or be somebody, but, it's easy for someone to say that, but it's another thing to actually believe it and then to walk in it. So now I would say for the past 10 years especially, I've been able to do that. But it took some time, and it also took me being able to accept the fact that I had been given something, that was meant to be shared. A lot of times I think the mistake people make, Renee, is that they keep their gifts to themselves. I know that what I've been given was not meant just for me. It was meant to share with other people, and I think that is where, understanding my purpose really has come from.
Oh, wow, that's powerful what you had just said. I mean, because that's the thing. A lot of people don't know what their purpose is. They don't know what their passions and their desires, and they don't know why they're even here right now on Earth.
Right.
And tell us a little bit of some things that you knew in your heart that you were actually in that purpose? Did you actually feel a certain way? Did certain things just flow, or did things happen that actually lined it up that, hey, this is my purpose? How did you recognize that?
Yeah, that is a great question. And actually, it was kind of a mixture of everything you said. I mean, when you're doing something, we all know the difference in doing something that feels right versus doing something that we looking around to make sure we're not going to get caught or to see what other people are saying about it. And for me, when I began conversations back in, now 2003, it's hard to believe it's been that long, but when it first began, I went into it quite honestly, I would say not even understanding the power that I had been allotted to have. And it wasn't until I asked the very first question on my show during that first episode that I knew, okay, it really was a validation for me, Renee, that it's not about me, because I went into conversations thinking I was going to be talking about Cyrus. And, Cyrus is doing this, and I'm having an art show here and a poetry reading here. And, I thought that was what, this is my opinion on this. And that works for a lot of people. There are a lot of people very comfortable with doing opinion shows. I thought that's what I was supposed to do. And it wasn't until that first show that I thought, this just don't feel right. I mean, it just didn't feel like, for one thing, people weren't responding to it. so that would be, I needed to change up. But when I was doing my very first show back in July 2003, Renee, I was about halfway through. I'd been talking about myself, talking about what I did. Nobody was calling in. Until finally, about 15 minutes into the show, the producer tells me I have a phone call here in Mississippi. And we answered the call, and it was a fellow artist friend of mine who I'd done some art shows with, who was listening to the show online. And she said, Cyrus, I just wanted to call in to say how proud I am of you. And I really believe it was the Holy Spirit, Renee, that spoke to me and said, why don't you ask her to talk about her? So I said, Angela, why don't you tell our listeners, for those who don't know, tell them about you and what you do. And when she started talking, that's when it just clicked. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be asking other people, how do you do this? What inspires you? And instead of talking about how good I am. And when I did that, that's when I knew it was supposed to be called Conversations, because the show was initially called Let's Talk. That was the first title the show was given. But it was after that first episode that I knew it was really a conversation with me and the world through the guest.
Oh, wow. You really said a lot there, because a lot of times we do have that thought that it's all about us. So you don't, all of us go through that, but then, it's a process. That's how it's actually set up. It's a process that we actually realize that it's all about somebody else. We're actually here, and the purpose that we actually have is actually to enlighten someone else to get to their purpose. So it's amazing how things work out. So I'm glad it ended up working out in conversation, because I truly enjoy your platform.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I've enjoyed being what I consider is I am the host of it, but I think really I'm just the gatekeeper. I think I allow people to have the opportunity to come and to share, and that's how I kind of see my role. The show was initially called, after we did the name change from Let's Talk, it was called Conversations with Cyrus Webb. But I changed the title back in 2005 to Conversations Live, because I thought, what if I died tomorrow? I don't want the conversations to stop because I'm not here. I wanted the conversations to continue, and no one wanted to come on the show called Conversations with Cyrus Webb. So, I wanted it to be so if something happened to me, the show could continue to go on, and that someone else could continue the conversations.
Now, that's powerful. You actually have said, because it takes a real, and I'm saying real in quotations, takes a real person, and I commend you, Cyrus, that you want your legacy to go forward, that if you're not here, that someone else will enjoy what your platform, what you have established. That takes a real, and that's what all of us need, those traits. We need to be humble, we need to be teachable, and of course we need to be able to give back and a legacy for our children's children, as we know what the Bible says. We need to leave something for someone else to enjoy, because they've done it for us. The things that we enjoy, was paved out in the past for us. So that's amazing. But tell us something, because, sometimes this happens. What can you say, things that keep you going? Do you have a routine that you have that actually keeps you going? One day you may get up, it may be rain, it may be, snow, and it could be doing something. The computer goes down or something. Mm-hmm. But what actually keeps you going in your path, that keeps you excited in your journey in life?
I wake up every day excited because I really believe every day is a new beginning, Renee. That's how I look at everything. Mm-hmm. Regardless of what may have happened yesterday, that's over with. Whether I want to accept it or not, it's done. There's nothing I have that can take me back to change it. The only thing I can do is make today better. And so that's kind of how I look at every day that I'm fortunate to wake up after I say thank you, for that gift, because that in itself, so many people didn't get that gift. So just saying thank you for that, and then saying, okay, what can I do? Basically, I try to, if I don't say it in words, I try to either my affirmations online or through what I say to people is basically to say to myself, what can I do to make today the best it can be? And that's not necessarily meaning you're going to do everything right, but at least you can do everything with the lessons of yesterday guiding you. And that's what I try to do. So that's kind of my routine. I mean, I don't try to do a whole lot of second-guessing anymore. I don't try to do a lot of, I wish I had, because that really then causes you to lose the gift of the moment. And that, to me, is a trick of the enemy. I mean, the enemy wants us to stay in yesterday, stay in last week, stay in last month, last year. But the gift that God has given us is the gift of now. And the question he asked all of us is, what are you going to do with it? Because he didn't have to give it to us, so what are you going to do? So that's kind of my thing, and that's kind of my routine is, you know what, at the end of the day, I make a to-do list. I'm not going to lie, every day, every morning, I make a to-do list. If I get it, I used to just stress, I didn't get everything done on the list, and try to kill myself to stay up, and then I'm messing stuff up. And instead of just saying, you know what, I didn't get everything done, but if I'm here tomorrow, I'll work on it tomorrow. And that's kind of how I approach life now.
Wow. That's as a young kid said, that's a tweetable, and that's something we should put on Facebook and everywhere and apply to our lives. But we're just so excited that everyone's here with us. This is Good Deeds, and I am Dr. Renee Sunday, and we have the awesome opportunity right now with Mr. Cyrus Webb. He's given us so many great nuggets, these are pain points that we have in our lives that we actually now have gotten some wisdom from Mr. Webb that actually we can go right now and change things in our life. So we really, really, truly thank him for being here with us on Good Deeds. But we have some more questions that we have to ask because, we're really enjoying this. Now, what advice that you actually can give to our listeners? I mean, because everyone wants to know their calling. Everyone wants to know their purpose. And everyone really wants to know why are they still here on earth? Can you give them some advice of, whatever comes to your mind? You can give them steps. You can give them just general advice, because that's the problem. I think we don't have a lot of people helping each other to get to the purpose. We are unfortunate. A lot of people unfortunate. We still have that selfish. What about me? That George Meyer said so wonderful. What about me? But we have to be humble, like you have said. But give us some advice how we can actually obtain or achieve our purpose.
Yeah, this is what I believe has worked for me, Renee, and I tell people I think there's no one way. I think one of the mistakes that we make is that I know it happened in my life. My family tried to tell me what I was going to be and how I was supposed to go about things. The thing is, we have to be willing to listen, because God, I believe, tells us. He tells us what he wants us to do. But it's really up to us to take out the time and to listen. For me, I knew from the age of 5, even my family told me, I have been writing and drawing since I was 5 years old. So I knew that was given to me for a reason. Of course, people will try to tell you, but you need to go go and get this education. You need to try to pursue this field. And I would say, well, what about this? Well, you can't make any money doing that stuff. You got to do. And so I think that is the thing. You have to listen. Listen to not what people say, But that voice that God has given you to say, this is what I've given you. Now what are you going to do with it? Because I think if we're true to that, I think it causes us to, not have as much heartache. I think it also, causes us not to make as many mistakes because we won't end up going down a path that wasn't meant for us anyway. So I think if we can think less about what people are going to say about us, what people are going to think, and more so about, what God has already said, I think that in itself will help a lot of people. And then, too, one thing I had to learn is the importance of forgiving yourself. We are so quick to forgive other people and to say to other people, I'm sorry, instead of looking in the mirror and saying, you know what, okay, maybe I didn't handle that situation the best, or maybe I could have done this a little different, but I'm not going to stop because of a mistake. I'm going to learn from it, I'm going to regroup from it, and I'm going to make it better. And that's the thing. I think the thing is, the worst thing we can say is that we're going to make it right, because quite honestly, Renee, I've learned you can't make it right because what's done is done. But what you can do is not make that mistake again. And I think that is the thing for us. A lot of times we pursue something and we think because it doesn't work out the way we expected, it was a failure. No, it wasn't. It was a lesson. It was just like in school. When you're in school, just because you fail one test does not make you a failure. There's always a do-over. And that's how I look at, again, the gift of today is it's a do-over. Okay, that didn't happen the way you wanted it to. Okay, well, we'll use that in moving forward to the next thing. And I think that's kind of been my way of looking at it.
Wow. That's all right. Thank you, Cyrus. That answered that question very well there. But let's take that 2 steps a little further. Okay. What advice you give us if we look around and nothing's working? If we thought this what we're supposed to be doing, and it ends up not what we're saying not working, it's not, you're not flourishing in it. It's not coming to pass. And we do beat up ourselves a lot of times. We say, oh, we'll fail. But any advice if what we're doing right now is not working?
Right. Well, you know what? I think that in itself is subjective, because I feel as though this is just based on what I have experienced. When we say something's not working, I think the question then becomes, what were we expecting? Because you're not going to be a millionaire tomorrow. You're not going to have the world know you tomorrow unless you've committed some great crime that, that gets you all over the national news and over the internet. I believe in the baby steps, Renee. Just like we didn't come out of the womb talking and being able to count to 100, I think we have to be able to be realistic in our goals. I think we definitely have to have those goals, but then also celebrate the steps along the way. I used to feel like, especially, I can say even 5 years ago, people would say, Cyrus, have you thought about doing something else? I remember I had quit my full-time job and was pursuing this full-time. Well, have you thought about, do you think you made a mistake? But I realize now the seeds that I sowed back in 2006 when I quit my full-time job are the seeds that I'm now able to reap in 2014. But if I hadn't planted those seeds, I wouldn't be able to say I've had a decade doing this. You know what I mean? So I think what we have to do is we definitely have to be realistic. But I think we have to kind of look at that realism in the scope of, am I expecting too much too soon? And then the other question becomes, whose expectations are we really looking at? Are we judging it by how man sees success, or by the satisfaction that we feel doing what we do and the joy? Because I remember when I wasn't really making a whole lot doing what I'm doing now, and I was so happy. I would go to bed, I've never had a problem sleeping, though. I can't even lie about that. But I would have peaceful nights, and I would think about all the people I knew who were in positions that they didn't love. They were making money, but they weren't happy. They were, not in a place where they had that peace. They had all these health issues and all of these things. And I thought, wow, if that's what it takes for me to be happy, to go through all of that, I'd rather stay just where I am. And I think that's really the thing, Renee. I mean, look at what you're doing, be realistic in your goals, but also look at it and say, okay, is there something I'm missing? Is there something that has happened that I don't even recognize? Because even like you, this is your first radio show, but look at all you've done before this, the speaking engagements. Think about the conferences. Think about, prepping for your television program. So this is not your first time at the rodeo. It's just your first time on a new platform. So I think that's the thing we have to think about. What have we done? Are we missing those little celebrations along the way to getting to the big thing of what we think we want? Because I really believe this. I think everything I have gone through is preparing me for the moment I'm in right now. And I wouldn't be able to really enjoy it and walk in it if I hadn't had those days where it looked like I couldn't really see anything, but I knew it was there.
That's amazing. Can you hear me, Cyrus?
I can, yes.
Yes, great. It's amazing when you say that. It actually made me almost have tears in my eyes because, my brother passed in 2011, and I had to end up speaking to people about grief. And I'm like, oh, Lord, I do not want to talk about grief. But we have to realize our testimony is to help someone else. We have to be able to help others because when you go through something, it's not, yes, you have to go through it. You can't get stuck in that situation, but you need to realize we're actually here to help others. So it's just so amazing what you're saying because we think, and we actually can be our best cheerleader or we can actually, beat ourselves up, which we don't want to do that. But you have to be proud of yourself. You have to, like you said, forgive yourself. And we have to be able to do, you have to do small steps in order for you to be, big steps. Because my mom used to always tell me, if you got something really quickly, you won't cherish it. If it actually was a journey, and you actually learn as you were going, you actually will have more pride and you'll actually feel better inside that you actually accomplished the goal. So that's just so much great information that you're giving us right now.
And Renee, I've been doing the radio show for a while, and I've interviewed 3 individuals that have not only won lotteries, but lost everything. And what was so interesting to me was they said that exact thing. They were so excited to get it, but because they'd never had anything, they didn't know what to do with it. But if you have worked to build something, then you know to protect that you built because you know the work that went into it. If all you did was go in there and pay $5 and you ended up getting $1 million, you don't really know what it was like to earn $1 million.
Wow.
And I think that is the thing. We have to remember the investment. That is what it's all about. Sowing those seeds, watching it grow, being out there, keeping the weeds out, because not everyone's going to be happy for you. I talk about this a lot in my affirmations. Not everybody is going to be there for you. You have to weed that out. But when you can able to do all of that and you see it grow, you're going to cherish that because you worked for that. And I think that is the thing. We have to really be willing to look at what we're working for and why we're working for it, because that will really determine how we treat it.
That's true. That's true. Well, just to make this conversation complete, talk just very briefly about, it's so many people doing the same things. I mean, a lot of people in media, a lot of people in, let's say journalism, a lot of people, even in sports, we'll say. How do you actually, because people will tell you, well, everybody's doing this, everybody's doing this. Yeah. Just give us a little bit of information on just advice. I mean, because sometimes people say, well, I need to be unique some kind of way, so I should think of something totally new. So just talk a little bit about that, because that's just a big thing that I have. A lot of young people come ask me. They say, well, how can I stand out and be unique in what I do?
You know what? It's 2 words. Be yourself. Because if you can remember that you were fearfully and wonderfully made for a reason, there's a reason why there's only one you. And that's because nobody can bring to the world what you can bring to it. I don't look at, just like you're joining, the radio family, I don't look at Renee Sunday as competition, not because of your being a radio show host, but because I know Renee's going to bring Renee. I can't be you. I can't be Renee. And all I can do is be me. And if you're just being yourself, that is what's going to cause you to succeed. It's when you look at other people and try to be them and emulate them, that role's already taken. That's why it's not going to work. You have to be the best of yourself. Now, what that also means, though, Renee, is that you have to make sure that you're doing the work that's intended for you. That goes back to listening. It's okay to want to do other things, but then you have to ask yourself, is this me? Am I going to feel comfortable in this? Because if you're not going to feel comfortable in it, you're not going to be able to bring the best of yourself to it.
Wow. That's it. I think you just, somebody probably jumping up right now because you have taken a load. I mean, literally the elephant is off their chest. Because a lot of people say, well, dog, everybody's doing this, but that's what my passion and that's what my joy and my desires are. But
yeah.
Cyrus put it right there for you. Just be yourself.
Yeah.
Now, we are so, I can't even put it in the words. We're pretty speechless of the great knowledge that you have given us, the wisdom that we can apply right now. You don't even have to pair it with this information that Cyrus Webb has given us today here on Good Deeds. And again, this is Good Deeds. I'm Dr. Renee Sunday, and I'm your host. And we actually also will have Good Deeds television show that actually will be on All Nations Television coming up this Saturday evening. But we want you to stay with us because now Cyrus is going to give us that great information of how we can contact him, how we can follow him on the different social media outlets, and how we can actually listen to his radio as well.
Well, it's very simple. And, again, thank you so much, Renee, for the opportunity. This time goes by so fast, and I really want to thank you again for this platform. You can find me very easily at CyrusWebbPresents.com. That's CyrusWebb, and that's Presents, PRESENTS.com. And that will take you to the information about the radio show, the television show, the magazine, and the book club. As well as, of course, you can find me on Facebook and Twitter at Cyrus Webb is where you can find me now. Just my name, CyrusWebb.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. We will actually be liking your page. We actually will be retweeting your tweets. We will actually help you in your journey because you are just, the things that we actually want a person to be humble, the person to be teachable, and you actually willing to give back. That is just so amazing for any young person and any older person to look up and admire and will actually want to just help anybody else. The most important thing we can put on our body is a smile. A lot of people need hope. And by you smiling, they actually say, I can keep going. I can actually make it through this day. Always remember, we are our sisters and brothers keeper. This is Dr. Renee Sunday. Please go to our website, gooddeedslive.com, and we actually have an equivalent email, gooddeedslive@gmail.com, and actually Good Deeds TV show, radio show at gmail.com. Please, please, please find us on Facebook, which is Good Deeds Radio and TV Show. And if you want to be a guest, if you want to advertise, please contact us as well. And again, we thank Cyrus Webb for being with us. And this is Dr. Renee Sunday with Good Deeds. Thank you, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.